a little bit of background to why this topic is because Universe is the backbone of business objects. And it has, I mean, with so many versions, so many changes, Universe has always been there as the metadata layer of all reporting. So Universe is so critical and so important that I think around 2011, SAP redesigned the Universe concept for the front-end users, the business users. It is still the same, but in the back end, they created a new format of Universe, and the designer itself it was reinvented, redesigned from a tool called Universe Design Tool. They introduced a new tool called Information Design Tool, and as I said, while the end result is the same to the business users, the report writers, but there are so many more things that can be done in the Universe design itself with the new version, that a lot of our customers started to move from the older format of Universe, which had the file extension of .unv, to the new format, which has the file extension of .unx. So when I say UNV versus UNX, UNV is the older format, UNX is the new format. And over the years, we have done many migrations, but it is now very important because they have, SAP has announced the end of support for UNV, and that's end of 2027. So far, UNV is still supported, but they have created a very streamlined process of converting existing UNV universes to UNX universes. So the good news is that you don't have to recreate everything. You don't have to create from scratch in the new format. You can convert your existing UNV formats to the new format. And that, of course, requires some more work on the reporting side as well. And how we go about that, and what are some of the tips and best practices you can follow while you do that, because now it is high time that you really, if you're not in the UNX format yet, if you're still using .unv universes, it is very important that you start planning the conversions. While it still sounds like another 5 years, but if you're a big organization and you have a lot of universes, a lot of UNV files, it's going to be it's going to be a significant effort to do this exercise. So it's definitely high time that you start planning what you're going to do about it. Okay. So with that, the outline of the whole process is not just converting the file, right? So the very first step is that to convert the .unv format files into .unx format files. You don't have to replace the .unv files. There will be new files. You can have both in your residing in your environment. However, you will need to repoint your Webi documents, or if it's Crystal. I'm just going to focus on Webi today, but it can be Crystal or any other applications that are using your UNV universes. They need to be repointed to the new .unx files. So that's going to be quite a bit of massive exercise. And then comes, of course, the bigger chunk of the effort, which is validation. Anytime you make a change in your database, or you upgrade, or you repoint your Webi reports to a new universe, you do need to test. You need to do a good amount of sample and good amount of good regression testing to make sure that everything is working as expected, as before. So first, let's focus on conversion of the universe. The easiest way to do that is you can simply pull up your information design tool, which is a new tool. And the tool allows you to select the .unv files and convert them. It's a very, very straightforward process. I'll show you in a bit, but yeah, you use the information design tool. Now, to keep in mind, and the other thing is that which should give you the confidence to start thinking about it is if you have the UNV formats. Now, once you convert it, you can it converts in a way that then you can do enhancements, editing, more stuff in IDT with that same converted universe. So that's one of the greatest thing about the conversion. However, if your universe, the .unv universe, was built and designed in XI3 world, then you have to first upgrade them to XI4 and then convert them. So, but if you build the universe, created the universe, .unv universes in XI4 environment, you can start converting. For conversion, your universes must be in the repository, and then you can bring that in, convert, and republish in the environment again. There are few universes, though, that cannot be converted. However, I will always suggest that check with the latest guidelines, latest information on SAP's site with the what they can and cannot do, because depending on which version of BO you are on, there may be a difference. There may be that, okay, when I checked universes that contain stored procedures, maybe if you're on SP2 or SP1 or XI 4.1, stored procedures were not allowed to be converted. But it's possible that with the latest version that you're on, or whatever version you're on, that might allow. So always that particular point, make sure you check with the latest information, depending on which version of BO you are on. As I was saying, the process of conversion is you open the information design tool, and I'll show you this in the tool as well. And you go to file menu, choose the universe that you want to convert, and then choose the destination and simply convert. You can do bulk conversion when you go to this file menu option. It allows you to choose more than one universes, and then you can do that. And you also have third-party applications, third-party software to do that conversion in bulk. However, be careful with that because a lot of times with universe, checking what your universe, how your universe looks like right now, and where you want to go with it, checking them individually pays off, because you always have a lot of reports, but universe, even though you have a lot of universe, it's not a huge or massive number all the time. So it might pay off to do that individually. But yeah, if you choose to bulk convert, definitely test them and check how they have converted individually after the conversion process. Again, depending on how it converts, how your security and connections are set up, you might have to create new connection, publish that connection as secured connection in IDT, and then repoint the connection. But most of the times, the connection gets repointed without much problem. What gets converted nicely are the tables, alias tables, derived tables, joins, self joins, context, they all get converted nicely without any problems that we have seen. In fact, with context, there are some new features called neutral context that you can take advantage of. But they get these are the things that get created in the new format nicely. There are some differences in the terminology. If you're not already familiar with it, for example, the classes in UNV in the old format, they are now called folders. The classes and the subclasses are now called folders and subfolders. And the details are now called attributes. So there are a few terms that are different, but those same objects, the conditions, filters, all of them are still existing in the new UNX format. Again, the reason it might be a good idea to check and convert universes individually, because there are a few things that do not convert so well. So, and want to know them ahead of time. One of the biggest one we have seen is the prompts. If you have prompt functions in your current universe, depending on where they are, whether they're in the select clause or in the where clause or in the SQL or in the tables, it may or may not convert correctly. Sometimes you may need to just recreate them manually again in the universe, in the new universe after conversion. Sometimes you may have to rewrite that with the latest syntax. Add prompt function has a new syntax. Also, it has there are the named parameters. You can take advantage of the named parameters of information design tool to redesign anything that was done with @prompt. There are some new data types. So the part of the conversion allows you to choose how you want to convert your data type, especially with the date. Date allows you to choose between whether you want to convert the data as date or as date type. So you can set that in the preference in the information design tool in Windows, and then it will convert accordingly. Index, if your universe has objects with index awareness, then that does not apply in the new one. Security access level is not applied, and table mapping restrictions on the universe object are not applied in the data security profile. Strategies, they don't convert very well, and any changes that you may have made in the .brm file, they are not converted as well. So if you have any of these things in your current universe, you will have to, after conversion, you have to check that, okay, these things either I have to recreate or did they convert properly? Is the syntax and the formula, especially with that prompt, are they working fine or not? For example, this is something I came across recently, where at the top screenshot, you see this is how that prompt function was written in the, it was a self-join filter in the where condition at prompt. This is how it looked like. But after conversion, it did not convert very well. So that particular condition had to be recreated. So look out for those kind of things. And as I said, refer to the information design tool guide or any blogs or any KBA, so that you are looking at the information that is most relevant to the version you are converting into, because there are differences between them. Linked universes, they do convert. The core universe converts like a regular universe conversion. However, it does not trigger the conversion of the derived one. So you have to separately do the conversion for the derived universes. If you start with converting the derived universes, ideally it does convert the linked universes. However, again, because that's a more complicated process, make sure you check that everything is working fine again by going into the universe. Again, another version dependent thing. You can choose between whether you want to convert all core universes at the time of converting the derived universe, or in whether you want to just convert a selected core and then bring in just the objects that you need, and they will be created in one universe. Okay. So again, definitely check for the version relevant information and see what it's going to do for that version and whether that's the best option for your universe or not. When you plan your conversions, remember to upgrade your connection client middleware if it makes sense. If it's old, it is a good time, and I'll kind of go back to Amy's presentation today, that revisit what you everything you can, because a lot of times, I mean, if you have business objects for a long time, more than 10, 15, 20 years, there are so many things that have been going on, and you have not looked back and seen whether we have applied the best practices or not. It is a good time to do that. Reconsider the security and look at the new security features in IDT, and maybe ice cream for lunch. This is a good time to see whether you can have an ice cream for lunch or not, if you have watched Amy's presentation. And find out the usage of your universe. Definitely either use the audit reporting that comes with SAP, SAP, or if you want to use third party, but definitely look at the usage of the objects of the universes and then plan the conversion. Just blindly converting everything, things that you have not been using, will just add more load and usage to your system. Good time to clean up. And definitely look at all the new features of the UNX format and see whether it makes sense to redesign some of the pieces from your universe. Even if it's not broken in the new system, there might be more new features that you can leverage. A few new features like calculated columns in the data foundation layer, business layer views, data foundation views. You can use cascading prompts. Other than exclude and include, you can use neutral context joins. There are new data types. There are new server-side middleware, new connection types like Snowflake, Big Data, Google Query. There are a lot of new options in the connections. There are options for working with shared projects. If you take any trainings on the new information design tool, Universe Design, you will go through all of this. And one of the big advantages of UNX is that it allows multi-source connectivity, and you can do data profiling with it as well. So definitely check out all the new options that you can apply in your universe. Things that you had to do in a more complex or found workaround to do them, maybe you can now do in a more neat way in the new universe.
Yeah, just one point there though, Renali. Of course, Multisource Universe goes away with 4.3. So
yeah,
so
yeah,
so
that goes away.
So probably need to remove that bullet from there.
Yeah, that's true. Okay. I'm going to switch to the information design tool and show you there. So I might need to stop sharing. Okay. So I'm showing the information design tool right now. If you still see the slides, let me know.
No, we see the IDT screen. It's good.
Okay. So this is where you do your conversion. Go to File. Before that, let me quickly give a very brief tour of the information design tool in case any of you have not seen that. Okay. So in the new UNX format, the universe is divided in 3 parts. So one would be the data foundation layer, one would be the business layer, and the last one is a connection. So the data foundation layer is basically your tables and views that you bring in from your database. And you create the joins just like you did in the UNV world, but then that's its own element to say. And then you create your objects and folders. So this is where you create your actual folders and dimensions, measures, detail. They are called attributes now. The advantage of this kind of separation of the data structure and the actual objects is that you can have one data foundation layer, but then you can build more than one business layers on top of that, and then publish that as 2 separate universes. In the current UNV structure, anytime you need a new universe, you need to start from the data foundation layer. Whether you do a save as, start from an existing one, but you still need to replicate that whole data structure and joining and everything in 2 universes. And if you have to make any changes, you will have to go and make changes to both. With this structure, you can have one data foundation layer and then one business layer containing part of the data foundation layer, and maybe another universe using another. It can be overlapped, but the idea is that you still have you just need one data foundation layer, and then you can have more than one business layers on top of that. I'm not suggesting that put everything in your data warehouse in one data foundation layer. It should be logically done, but you get the point that when there is a good amount of overlap between the data structure of 2 universes, then you can definitely make use of this feature. And then the connection, you create connection over here. You create the local connections here, and then you publish that. Again, that's reusable. And then you create projects, and then local projects, and under local project, you can import universes from your repository and make changes, and then republish back in the system. And you can insert all the sessions, diff, QA, prod, or more than one system you can define here. And I think that's it. So that's the basic structure of the information design tool UNX format of Universe. Okay. So this, for example, is right now I created a very simple UNV universe and then converted into here. So let me show you here, file, convert to .unv universe, and then from a repository. And then I choose the session. Right now I have only one session defined here. So that's what that defaults. And you can have more than one, as I said. And then I log in. And then I navigate to my, excuse me. So this is the UNV universe I have in the system. And then I go ahead and move that. This is where you can select more than one universes. But as I said, make a judgment. Do you really need to do all of them at a time? Or if you have just maybe no more than 10 universes in your system, it just might make sense to do one at a time. And then it allows you to choose a few options, whether you want to create the new file in the same folder or choose a different folder, and a few other options like automatically convert at prompt expressions into universe name parameters. If you think your at prompt is at the business layer and it should convert into nice universe named parameters, then go ahead and do that. But I'll always say that if you have at prompt functions used in your current universe, definitely recheck and see whether you need to fix anything or recreate anything or create a list of values and universe parameters or not. And you have a few other options to choose here, and then click convert. I already have a converted one, so it might. Okay, so I created in the same folder, so that's why I didn't create any problems. And then I just double click on that, and this brings up here. And I'm going to bring it back here. And now I have a new universe that in the .unx format. Once you check all, everything has converted fine, you can start using right away. Or you can check for better designs and using the new options like I said. Another name like hierarchy is now called navigation path. So there are some changes in the terminology, which if you go through a guide or any training, you will get familiarized with that. Okay. The next step is to convert. Sorry, repoint the Webi documents. I'm going to switch my, I need to switch my screen, so I need to stop sharing. Okay. So for repointing your Webi documents from the .unv to .unx, you need to use, and SAP provides an application called Automation Framework. So you can go into each and every Webi document and use change data sources and repoint your objects to the new one. However, with hundreds and thousands of reports, you will spend a huge amount of time. So SAP provides this framework to do this repointing in bulk. And this was introduced in BI 4.2 SP5. If you're in BI 4.2 yet, then you need to go to this URL called BI Admin Console. And the URL looks like exactly like your BI Launchpad URL, except after BI, you have to append this word admin console with A and C caps. And then I'm going to show you what you do there. In 4.3, you don't need a separate URL. This is embedded in kind of, it is included in CMC. If once you log into 4.3 CMC, you will find this option there. You don't need a separate URL anymore. Okay. And this is called the automation framework. Keep in mind that this particular service is not turned on all the time by default in your SIA, in your service server intelligence agent. If you're not able to reach this site, go and check that it is turned on. And sometimes if you have applied a new license key, or if you have upgraded, this agent gets turned off. So make sure that if you need to use this, that service is turned on in the SIA. And this has this Fiori interface, whether you're in 4.2 or 4.3. This particular has that Fiori application. Okay, so I'm gonna show you how it looks like. So as I said, this is your server name, port, BO/BOE/BI admin console. And then you use your BOE login. And then you use the automation framework to create scenarios. And I'm going to show you, I've already created one. So not this one. This one. What basically this allows is you to do is
we're not seeing anything. We're still seeing the slide right now, Ronaldo.
Oh, okay, I see. Stop sharing. Okay.
We see it now.
Okay. Thank you. So as I said, this is the difference in the URL if you're in 4.2. And then once you log in, you create a template, and then you create a scenario. And then you select the documents that you need to convert. And then you choose the to and from universe. So this is my UNV universe, and this is the target.unx universe. I define all that mapping here. And then for some reason, it makes you also kind of do the refresh document just to ensure that after repointing, it runs all right. And unfortunately, we'll have to reselect those documents again to refresh the same list of documents that you have selected here. And then you define the scenario, and then you can either run them right away or kind of schedule them. But if I run, I'm not sure if it's going to run right now, but once you run that, it's going to ideally convert, repoint your Webi documents. It can be Crystal documents as well. It's going to repoint from UNV to UNX. And then I'm going to switch back to my slide for the last few tips. After you have converted your universes, one of the best practice
we're seeing it in presentation mode. You just want to switch it.
Okay. Okay. Do you see this all right now?
That's right. Thanks.
Okay, thank you. Planning is one of the biggest recommendation and suggestion that you plan the conversion before you start converting. I've already talked about that. After you have converted, make sure you refresh the data foundation, do a refresh structure in your data foundation layer, just to make sure that all the connections and all the tables are coming in properly, and do an integrated check on both UNV and UNX side and see that you're getting the same results or not. If not, then try to look for the differences. Ideally, you should start repointing your web reports in the dev environment, and when you have resolved all the issues there, then do that in prod. And always kind of, I know this is too ideal, but if you target that, you start from reports, promoting reports from prod to dev, and then repointing those. That way, you know you have converted the latest versions of the report. It may sound obvious, but we have seen a lot of times that it's done in dev or done in versions that are not latest, and then the process had to be redone, or they failed for reasons that just we troubleshooted unnecessary errors. If we avoided, we could have avoided by using the latest version of the reports. If you have reports in your personal folders, then create public folders and move them, and then promote and then convert repoint. Another one, if you have more than one universes, which is very likely to happen, promote all your reports and universes first and then start repointing. Otherwise, you may see that you have converted one universe, and there are some reports that are using more than one universe, and then that kind of creates a problem. They are like partially done and not done. So it's better to go for all of them. Backup Webi reports, because this is very important. Backup your Webi reports before you repoint them, because you cannot repoint them back to UNV. Once you have repointed your reports to UNX, you cannot repoint them back to UNV anymore. Not through the bulk reporting or bulk process automation framework, not through change data sources. So very important that you back up your reports. And ideally, you try to freeze modification to your production reports if possible, to avoid, again, reports changed, universe changed, and then when you try to validate them, they don't match because they changed in the process. So try to freeze that. I know it's difficult at times, but it's good to do that. Try to avoid other changes going on at the same time, like database upgrade or BO upgrade. Better to do them in pieces so that validation is easier again. Then the last part is validation. I think I'm going a little bit over time, but the last phase I'll touch upon this validation. Again, you need to validate your reports, and if you want if you have to do this manually, it's a long effort. So there are some tools to do that, automate that process. One of them we often use is for our customers. Most of our customers have InfoBurst, and you can purchase Beyond Compare, which has a very minimal license fee. And then you can use them, the combination of InfoBurst and Beyond Compare, to run your reports. You run a set of reports, schedule your reports to InfoBurst, which are pointing to the UNV, and then you also schedule the reports that are now pointing to the UNX, and then you use InfoBurst to burst the results out into a network share location. And beyond compare basically converts the, compares the, and shows the differences between two text files. And I think it does it for Excel files as well. So you can compare the results and see if your Webi documents are working fine or not. With the same set of parameters, of course, when you schedule them in InfoBurst, so that you get more accurate results.
Okay.
More details about that.
Yeah, I think we can probably wrap it up there, Renali, because we're already 7 and 10 minutes over. But that was excellent. And the regression testing is a very important part, as you point out there, and there are multiple ways to do that. And the Beyond Compare is definitely a very, very good way. A lot of people use that today to compare before and after to make sure that the reports are the same. There was one quick question that came in that we should add a note about row level security, you know, because someone's pointing out they had to create LOVs based on SQL query and update the objects to use the new LOV to assure that the row level security is applied. So, you know, the security part has to be tested as well, right?
Yes, absolutely. Yes. So I think, yeah, I just added a note about consider security options. So yeah, but I think, yeah, I might, if I present this again, I'll add more details about security.
Okay, excellent. Well, thank you so much. That was really good.